Dear God, you guys, we're looking at the Jidohun KB115, and I'm pretty sure this is the worst mechanical keyboard you can possibly buy. Let's start with a quick little sound test. Yeah, I've heard worse, but I've not seen much worse. Like, everything about this keyboard is pretty bad. Let's get into it. So here's the thing. I got this keyboard on Amazon for $14.99. Is it worth $14.99? I think that maybe it is. You do actually get mechanical switches, but here's where everything goes awry. That's the first thing. You have super generic switches. Next, like, these keycaps are deplorable. Look inside here. Like, the double shot is cracked and, you know, not even all the way through the whole cap. I hope you guys can see that. It's a little hard to see, but if you look right here, you can see the black of the keycap. These things are terrible. They weigh nothing. Very low quality. The legends are bad. The fonts are garbage. They're just as bad as keycaps can get, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I guess maybe they could get a little worse, but I don't really know how. They're super thin, but that's just a start. Let's get to my favorite thing, okay? Check these stabilizers out. Are you seeing that? Just touching some of these stabilizers lifts them out of the plate. That's how loose the stabilizers are inside this plate. That at least one on every single key that has the stabilizer just lifts completely out of the plate. I mean, would that be so terrible? Easily just pull those switches out and change those stabilizers to something a little better. Maybe do like a Band-Aid mod to snug them up and everything will be all right, right? All except the easily part, because number one, this thing is terrifying to try to get out of the case. It's not easy. By the way, this plate is held in with 8 screws. I've already pulled them out. But it's like impossible to get the damn plate out of the board. You have to kind of go at it from every angle under the sun. And then here's the big reveal. Oh God, it fell back in. No! Ah. All right, ready? They're soldered. They're soldered. They're soldered. That's all I can say. They're soldered. You might think to yourself, okay, that's probably where it stops. There's 2 USB connections on this board for some reason. Maybe one's an out. I don't think so. I think they're both ins. The solder joints are terrible even. Oh God, I'm just noticing that. But here's the thing. That ain't USB-C, kids. That's micro USB. Micro USB. Who puts a micro USB on a keyboard? Who puts 2 of them? It's insane. And I have to show you what came with it. First, we get some more like really terrible caps. They literally look like they've been spray painted red. I think I'm like actually putting fingerprints into them. I swear to God, these are spray painted. They're really bad. But here's the USB cord that's included with the Jidohun KB115. That's about 3 feet. What do you expect me to plug this into? Is there anything else you want to complain about your $14.99 keyboard? Why, yeah, sure. Let's talk about our case. It's fine. It's plastic case. No big deal, you know, nothing particularly terrible or good about it. But what's hilarious to me, there's a spot right here that you can see would be for like maybe like a Bluetooth switch or something like that. And there's no Bluetooth with this keyboard, of course. But what's hilarious is that's how they covered it up. QC pass. Good to go. If I was smart, I'd probably just put this back in the box and send it back to Amazon, but I am not smart. I'm going to take all the switches out. I am going to desolder them. Every single last damn one of them. And we're going to try to mod the stabilizers. We're going to see if we can get the stabilizers to stay in the plate. I just don't think that there's anything else we could do. I mean, if you enjoyed torture, stick around. Here we go, yo. Let's make a terrible mistake. Oh, and this is definitely lead-free solder because it's not heating up, which is super rad. So yeah, the only thing that works is adding a little more solder and then sucking the solder. So we'll add that to the list of things wrong with it. Cheapest solder known to man. All right, see you guys in a few weeks. Well, here's the aftermath. We did manage to liberate all the switches from this PCB, but they are definitely not going back in. The PCB is in good shape. I didn't lift any pads or anything, but some of these switches were so difficult to pull, I'm pretty sure I killed a few of them. So just to be safe, I definitely am not going to resolder them after lubing them, and I'm going to use something from my pile of switches over there. Not sure what yet. I do still need to just do a little cleanup on this with solder wick, but for the most part, all the holes are open now. That took roughly 3 hours to do. Every single one of these pads I had to first add solder to in order to be able to heat up the terrible solder they used enough to pull it out. Maybe if I had like a temperature controlled one that I could get a little hotter, I'd be okay. And now we know why Glosses has the Glosses gun. By the way, these are Kai-Cheng switches. K-A-I-C-H-E-N-G is what they say. I've never heard of them. Yeah, they're a little sus. I mean, everything about this board is sus. Okay, so here's where we're at with this thing. I tested the PCB after desoldering all the switches and everything works. I Band-Aid modded the stabilizers to try to keep them in the plate, and I also modded the stabs by cutting off the upper stems. I silicone poured the case, and I lubed these Red Dragon switches that came out of a Red Dragon keyboard I have to put in here, because the switches I pulled out of here, a lot of them are pretty mangled from me trying to get them out of this board with all the cheap solder on it. As of right now, my advice would be, don't waste your money on this board. The only reason I would even consider buying this board, even though it's only, $16 shipped to your door from Amazon, is practice unsoldering switches. And honestly, instead of buying this, get on like Facebook Marketplace or whatever your local marketplace is, Craigslist or whatever it is you use, Kijiji in Canada, and just buy a used keyboard. It's just not worth the money. So now I'm going to throw these switches in here and resolder them. I'll show you some of that. I am not going to put any foam between the plate and the PCB because I think it's a waste of money, but I do have an extra switch pad foam, so I am going to use that, see if that helps improve the sound a little bit, and hopefully having these lubed box top reds that came out of a Red Dragon will maybe help improve the sound a little bit. We'll see. Let's keep going on this cheap, terrible keyboard that you shouldn't waste your money on, because I already wasted my money on it for you. Is it messed up that I'm somewhat disappointed that this doesn't totally sound like crap? I guess the one thing I can say is if you're out there and you're already saddled with this terrible ass keyboard, at least there is hope for you. Let's listen to it. Yeah. It sucks. Don't waste your money. But if you already have it, at least there's some hope. By the way, the phrase RGB on this keyboard means one row of red, one row of green, one row of blue, one row of white, and one row of orange.